morning, everybody. Happy Monday to you all, wherever you happen to be in the world today. My name is The Phoenix, and you are joining me for a casual conversation about Lord of the Rings 5e and D&D 5e. For those of you who have never been to my stream before, I am a avid D&D player as well as D&D DM, and I have ventured into the world of Tolkien through Free League Publishing's Lord of the Rings role-playing for 5e system. So this is a subsystem that works with D&D 5e to bring forth the world of Arda to fellow tabletop gamers. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Free League Publishing, I am here to introduce it to you, to make you comfortable with the system, to pique your interest, hopefully, and just share a good love and a good passion for all things Lord of the Rings. So today we're going to be starting off with a little segment that I've gone into here. So without further ado, let's see. Let's make sure I can do this. I made labels for the stream. So first off, we're going to start off with a new segment called Today in Tolkien. So today is December 1st, and this day in the Shire Reckoning calendar would actually be the 12th of Foryule. Right now, as we know, Sam and Frodo are resting in Rivendell, getting ready for the journey to Mordor to destroy the ring, getting in their step counts, stocking up on potatoes and lembas, and getting a great appreciation for poetry and songs and that kind of stuff. But some other stuff has occurred on this day on Earth. And we actually have quite a bit of stuff here today. There's actually quite a lot of stuff. So let's get into it. So let's start way back. So on December 1st in 1897, so well over 100 years ago, actor Cyril Ritchard was born, and Cyril Ritchard was a actor and director that voiced Elrond in the animated version of The Hobbit. So this version of The Hobbit was from 1977. So Cyril was born on this day in 1897. Moving on to 1913, J.R.R. Tolkien was elected the president of the Stapleton Society, which was a student body at Exeter, oh my goodness, Exeter College. A year later, in 1914, Tolkien's close friend at Oxford, Geoffrey Smith, entered service with the Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire Light Infantry. And I actually wonder if this is the same person. So we've been doing this segment for about a week here. And I'm actually curious if this is the same person that yes, he's the same. No, he's not the same person. Interesting. So this person, they attended King Edward's School in Birmingham together, Geoffrey Smith and J.R.R. Tolkien. And they became one of the core members of TCBS, the Tea Club Barovian Society. which was an organization that met at Barrow Stores at King Edward's School in Birmingham. He was already enrolled at this time at Corpus Christi College in Oxford, and the two became close friends there, mostly because most other Edwardians went to Cambridge. So Geoffrey Smith joined the 19th Service Battalion of Lancashire Fusiliers, the 3rd Sanford Pals, and participated at the Battle of the Somme. He was hit by shrapnel on November 29th, 1916, and died 4 days later. So in 1918, a collection of poetry by Smith titled A Spring Harvest was published, and Tolkien actually wrote the preface for that. Interesting. So here's a quote from Geoffrey Smith. "My chief consolation is that if I am succumbered tonight, there will still be left a member of our school group to voice what I dreamed and what we all agreed upon. For the death of one of its members cannot, I am determined, dissolve the group. Death can make us loathsome and helpless as individuals, but it cannot put an end to the immortal four. May God bless you, my dear John Ronald, and may you say things I have tried to say long after I am not there to say them, if such be my lot." Aw, that's a good quote. Very eloquent. So yeah, on this day in 1914, Geoffrey Smith entered service. Of course, Tolkien wrote some letters on this day. In 1953, he wrote letter 141D, which was a letter in which he expressed satisfaction with the readability and improved movement of the second volume of The Lord of the Rings. He notes the minimal presence of errors in the first book. Additionally, he provides the address for Gervase Matthew at Blackfriars, Oxford, though he mentions that he is currently liking to be traveling abroad. Interesting. He also started writing a letter to Rainer Heppenstall in 1954. And let's just see. So this, it looks like he took 2 days to write this. He wrote, Heppenstall had written to inform Tolkien that his radio play will be preceded by Gavin Bones' translation of the Battle of Maldon, and hence the homecoming of Bjornoth shouldn't need any introduction. Heppenstall had also written that they had booked an actor for The Voice in the Dark. Tolkien now replies that Heppenstall did not mention anything about Bones' Battle of Maldon when he paid Tolkien a visit in Oxford, and that he does not believe that such a strategy would help to make the play more understandable. And then, unfortunately, on this date in 1973, actor Duncan MacIntyre died. And Duncan MacIntyre was a British actor that played Bomber in the 1968 radio series by BBC Radio, an adaptation of The Hobbit. We have a few works that were published on this day, including an extrapolation on the Silmarillion, evocation of Virgil in Tolkien's art, J.R. Tolkien, Writers and Their Work, Gollum, How We Made Movie Magic, Tolkien, A Cultural Phenomenon, Chesterton and Tolkien as Theologians, and Middle-earth and Beyond, essays on the world of J.R.R. Tolkien, as well as, rather recently, A Well of Wonder, C.S. Lewis, J.R.R. Tolkien, and the Inklings, and Death and Immortality in Middle-earth. So this was a big day for people to publish stuff for Tolkien. Stuff that wasn't published, so non non literary works. So in 1976, Dean O'Gorman was born. So he was a New Zealand actor who portrayed Fili in the Hobbit film. So he was born on this day in 1976. Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King premiered in Wellington, New Zealand on this day in 2003. And then the Lord of the Rings Online Siege of Mirkwood expansion was released in North America in 2009. Born of Hope, a fan film, was released online in 2009. Let's see, what was this? It is a fan film directed by Kate Madison and written by Paula DeSatti, produced by Actors at Work. It was released online December 1st, 2009. So let's see. There's a good summary of this. Set in the late Third Age, Sauron's power is increasing. His orcs are constantly seeking out the remnants of the bloodline of Elendil, kept alive by the Dunedain. Durhale and his wife Evorwen and their daughter Gilrain are fleeing from the attack on their village when they are ambushed by orcs on a forest road and saved by a group of rangers led by Arathorn. Not having any place safer to go, the refugees are taken by Arathorn to Tardal, the village led by his father and chieftain of the Dunedain, Eriador. While there, Arathorn and Eriador ponder over the orcs' motives after finding various pieces of jewelry on their bodies. During her stay in Tardal, Gilrain falls in love with Arathorn. In light of the attacks on surrounding settlements, Eriador leads his forces on a campaign against the orcs in the area in an attempt to restore peace to the region. Meanwhile, he sends Arathorn separately in an attempt to determine the meaning behind the attacks. Both are successful, and Arathorn discovers the orcs are serving Sauron, who seeks the Ring of Bareth. Arathorn and Gilrain receive Eriador's blessings to be wed, but Arathorn cannot summon the courage to ask Durhale for his daughter's hand. That seems like a small thing to summon up the courage to ask for his daughter's hand in marriage. Eriador is summoned to Rivendell to seek Elrond's counsel, and the wedding is postponed until his return. Arathorn eventually confronts Durhale, and the two are married. A year later, Eriador is killed by a hill troll in the Coldfells, making Arathorn the chieftain of the Dunedain. Gilrain becomes pregnant and gives birth to a son, Aragorn. Tardal knows peace for a while until Eladane and Elrohir come with the news from Rivendell. Elrond has sensed that danger is once again threatening the region, and they request that Gilrain and Aragorn be brought back to Rivendell for safekeeping, as is the tradition with all Dunedain heirs to the chiefdom. Before Arathorn and Gilrain can come to a decision, orcs attack the village. They are beaten off, and Arathorn leads the rangers in pursuit of the stragglers. They are successful, but Arathorn is mortally wounded in the process. Without a chieftain capable of leading them, the Dunedain disband Tardal and go to hide in secret in the forests of Rudar, while Aragorn is brought to Rivendell. Da-da-da. That's interesting. So that is a fan film, Born of Hope. Interesting. Kind of looks good. Maybe something to check out if you guys are are interested in looking at this. It's only a 71-minute film, It looks like it was distributed on YouTube and Daily Motion. It garnered the attention of various professionals who worked on Jackson's trilogy. Amazing stuff. It's incredible to see what craftsmanship, sensitivity, and attention to detail is being brought to bear on this ambitious project. Everything so far looks amazing, and I can't wait to see the finished film. That was from Richard Taylor. From Daniel Falconer. I really admire what you are doing and would love to support your efforts in some way. And Christian Fletcher. It looks like you people are putting together an awesome project. I'm looking forward to seeing the film myself. Best wishes on completion of the project. So it had some good, garnered some good feedback, at least in the early production. There isn't really anything noted about what people thought about the final production, but yeah, so that Born of Hope was released online in 2009. And then the final thing we have here is 2014, Hobbit: The Battle of the Five Armies premieres in London on this day. So it was a busy day in Tolkien history. All right. So that is our Today in Tolkien. If you guys like this part of our segment, please let me know. I am always seeking feedback from you guys. I think it's kind of interesting to dive into a little bit of the stuff that's happened that's maybe not related to specifically the Jackson series or the Tolkien books. It's interesting to learn about all sorts of things Tolkien and Tolkien adjacent on this day. So that is Today in Tolkien. Moving on to our quote of the day. So we have done a few different quotes thus far. I think we've done Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King. Let's go to the Silmarillion. Let's see what quote we might want to take from here. So we will take this quote. So this is from the 7th chapter of the Silmarillion, titled Of the Silmarils and the Unrest of the Noldor. And it goes as follows. As three great jewels they were in form, but not until the end, when Fëanor shall return, who perished ere the sun was made, and sits now in the halls of awaiting, and comes no more among his kin. Not until the sun passes and the moon falls shall it be known of what substances they were made. Like the crystal of diamonds it appeared, and yet was more strong than adamant, so that no violence could mar it or break it within the kingdom of Arda. Very interesting. All right. So that is the end of our quote of the day. Moving on to D&D discussions. So this week, actually both of my my regular D&D home games were canceled. One due entirely because of me. My husband and I decided that we would go to it's called Light Up, and it's basically where a local town that we're adjacent to turns on all of the Christmas lights for the season. And with our little 8-month-old baby, we did want to have him experience Light Up for the first time. So we bundled up in all of our snowsuits and went out on Friday night there to experience that. And it was good fun. There was a little like Christmas market that we went to initially. Different craftsmen selling a variety of things. And and after we were done that, we did get out on the streets to witness the lights turning on. They had a little parade before that. I think that was actually more appealing to my baby than the actual lights turning on. But after that, we went and we had some cookies and hot chocolate and sat our baby on Santa's lap. But it did unfortunately interfere with my regularly scheduled Friday night D&D game. So unfortunately, I don't have any updates from that. And then yesterday, our Sunday morning game was canceled. We had a couple people have to bow out of the campaign just for the morning. So unfortunately, that was canceled due to lack of availability from a couple of different players. So I don't have any updates from my my experiences as a player. However, we did have our first one-shot live stream this past weekend, just on Saturday. And big shout to everyone who joined us for that one shot and who stayed with us through the technical difficulties. I will say from a streamer standpoint, I have learned that collab cam is not as fancy as it was chalked up to be. I thought it would be sufficient for the live stream. I actually thought it would be probably the best way to live stream multiple people, because I was able to set up, a thing for each individual player. But unfortunately, it was a bit laggy. I did receive some feedback from some people that some of the frame rates were not the greatest. Some of the audio was fluctuating a little bit, and even from the players' standpoint, I don't think that they ever even got a chance to see me on cam. I think that I was just a frozen shot. So from a streamer standpoint, it didn't go exactly great. The stream did shut down just as we were getting started there. I think it lagged a little bit. But from a D&D standpoint, it actually went pretty good. It was my first time running this in an official D&D setting, in a published D&D setting. Usually when I run this game, it is on in a homebrewed setting for the Westmarch server that I play on. So I had to adapt it a little bit to be a little bit more relatable for you guys as viewers. I had to adjust a couple things about the story, adjust how the players got even into this thing, and I had this notion. I had this idea in my head of, okay, I wanted it to be a 911 center, essentially. And so I was like, okay, an emergency operations center, how do they operate an emergency operations center in Faerun? So I did have a little bit of fun trying to adapt everything to a non-technologically advanced setting, adapting the party's start-off point. Because usually when I run it, it's they're members of a guild, and this guild receives quest givers who post jobs for the players to sign up for, or for the player characters to sign up for. So I had to adapt it a little bit. So this 911 center, I had a good idea in my head. I thought it was a good idea. I think it came off all right on stream, of this 911 operations center. I have worked in a few emergency operations centers. I've I've taken on quite a few different roles, particularly during COVID, just because of my work in healthcare. But I've had a fair amount of experience in these kind of settings. So I know that the word critical is used quite a bit in these situations. And once I locked onto the word critical, I was like, oh, what if I name it critical response? And it can be abbreviated CR. And then I can play with, different CR ratings based on the severity of the emergency. So I had a lot of fun, setting up a office space for the CRHQ, for the Critical Response Headquarters. Introducing the viewers and the players to this setting, and receiving that phone call, that sending stone message. And maybe it's a little crackly, maybe things were exaggerated by the quest giver. But I can imagine that Charlie, the quest giver, the NPC for this, when he found out, okay, there is a group of people who are there to respond to emergencies, immediately, like, he is thinking life or death for this first date. And he thinks he will die. And there would be nothing more embarrassing than dying on your first date. Not just his first date with Finch, but his first date ever. So he's in a panic about this, and I can imagine he kind of elaborates a little bit on the severity of the situation, because he feels that it's a very, very severe situation. So when he says, "Oh, I'll be eaten alive," and all this stuff, he genuinely believes it. Whether or not that was the case was, really up to the players. But it was a lot of fun to play with that. And I can imagine there was a little bit of a telephone game, because we had player heroes, we had player characters coming from all over Faerun. And there's various means to communicate messages to them, which I tried to accentuate. There's knights, there's familiars, there's animated corpses, there's probably the message spell, sending stones. There could even be like arcane telegraph machines, or homing pigeons. Various messengers throughout Faerun, based off of where they're supposed to get to, and the person that they're trying to get to, because some of them might not respond to a familiar or an animal messenger, but some of them might respond better to a messenger of nature or a messenger of the dead, based off of where they were. So I tried to play with that a little bit, but I imagined that it was a little bit of the telephone game too, that some of the message was lost in translation as it got passed from person to person to person. So if you passed a message from Charlie to the operator, that's a chance for it to get skewed. The operator writing stuff down, that's a chance for it to get skewed. The runner of that message had a chance to skew it. And then I imagine that there was probably a period of time that we don't actually get to see in the one-shot itself, where various messages are communicated to the actual messengers for the players. So some of the message was Rin communication, and it was degraded and maybe the letter wasn't prioritized while digging through the earth. We had maybe messengers of animal nature that have limited vocabulary and aren't able to communicate complex thoughts and complex ideas. And then we have, little fey creatures who, you know, being eaten alive is just another day in the life of a mushroom folk. So that is not an important detail in their minds. It's oh, you had to go meet this guy. So that was maybe more of a priority in their heads, meeting with a humanoid rather than, oh, that humanoid might get eaten alive. So this was all some fun and games that I played with as a DM, preparing this for you guys as the viewers and for the players. And I think it went pretty good. We had a lot of fun. I had, I brought in some buddies of mine that I've played with in the past, and that I know through various D&D outlets. Some of them have been DMs for me. Actually, two of the players are my DMs in my other two campaigns. Some of them I work on my moderation team with for my Westmarch server, and some of them I just have met through the server or through friends that I have met through the server. So friend of a friend kind of deal. And all of them are great folk. I greatly enjoy their play style. I greatly enjoy their enjoyment of D&D and their lighthearted nature. And I knew that they would enjoy a fun, lighthearted game. I am not a extreme DM. I am not out here to kill my players. I'm not out here to provide extreme challenges and push them to the limits of their characters. That's not the kind of DM I am. I know there are DMs like that, and good on you if you are that kind of DM, or if you're a player that enjoys those kinds of DMs. But I personally, as a DM, am always interested in the story. I am always interested in what kind of narrative I can craft. And some of these narratives are about the NPCs. Some of them are about the PCs. Some of them are about the world in general. But the idea of crafting a narrative is what really draws me to DMing. And it's something that I enjoy. It's one of the few reasons I continue to DM, is because I enjoy being able to tell a story. And it does end up, unfortunately, or fortunately, leading to me having what I call spiels. So I usually draft up a elaborate scene to set a mood, set an ambiance for the players. So I write up these elaborate scenes to draw people in, to set the preface for things. It's kind of a forward to the story in my head. And I like details, right? Like I am not ever going to be someone who lacks in details. I am never going to be a DM who you have to pry in order to get information out of me. I want to give players information. I want to tell a story. I want them to ask questions and engage with the world I've created or the story I've created. And some of them react more actively than others. Some of them engage more actively than others. So, as a DM, I do have to judge when the players are not enjoying or not maybe becoming inspired by what I'm putting on the table for them. So it's sometimes results in some fluctuations of okay, they're not seeming to engage as much as I thought they might have with this scene. So wrapping up things and trying to move it forward to keep the momentum going through the game. So, but yeah, so that is our day in D&D, our D&D discussion. If you guys haven't checked out the one shot, I do have the video on demand on my Twitch page. I think I also have it on my YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. I am trying to figure out how to edit it, but the editing software that I have is not enjoying a over 4 hour, almost 5 hour recording. So I had to look into some different video editing software, some free video editing software. So I will be looking to kind of play that up a little bit, modify it a little bit, clean up some of the pauses and that kind of stuff. So that it is a lovely little thing to post as a proper video recording on YouTube. And then, maybe that'll filter in some more folks to our live streams like this, to future live streams. But we will see. Yeah. Alrighty. So, that is our D&D talks. So getting into Lord of the Rings 5e. So I wanted to actually use this time to discuss with you guys something called the Tales from Eriador. So this is a more of a campaign supplement for Lord of the Rings 5e. So this was released by Free League Publishing, and it is a series of about 6 one-shots, all based in Eriador. So there is the Ruins of Eriador, which is the setting information. It's got a boatload of information. It's an entire book dedicated to the locations, the NPCs, story beats, all that stuff that's happening in Eriador. And Tales from Eriador is an actual story that you can tell in this setting, in the Eriador setting. So like our other Lord of the Rings 5e books, except for Shire Adventures, this is set in 3065, I believe, off the top of my head, of the Third Age. So this is about 20 years after Bilbo returned from the mountain, from Smaug and the adventures with the dwarves, after he's returned back to the Shire. So it's set before the events of the War of the Ring, before Frodo, that kind of stuff, but after the events of The Hobbit. So we will start with the first chapter in this book. So like I said before, this is a book dedicated specifically to one-shots. So there's 6 one-shots in here. The first one we have is A Troll Hole, if there ever was one, which is hopefully what I'll be able to get through today. We've also got Messing About in Boats, Kings of Little Kingdoms, Not to Strike Without Need, Wonder of the Northern World, and Quest of Amon Girthos. So those are the 6 one-shots in this book. They're meant to be played in succession with one another. So, we are going to go into this. And I will preface, if you are a player, this information is not meant for you. This is not meant to help you as a player in these adventures. This is Dungeon Master or Lore Master information. So if you want to spoil the surprise for yourselves, by all means, watch on. But if you want to remain surprised, if you want to react naturally to the events of these adventures, if your DM is running these adventures, err on the side of caution. I encourage you not to watch the stream from here on because it might spoil some surprises for you. So, Chapter 1, A Troll Hole if ever there was one. So this is a 3rd to 5th level adventure. So it is not meant for those very, very early levels. It's starting to get into the beginnings of your character's sub callings. So they're subclasses. And just as a reminder, Lord of the Rings role-playing ends up going up to 10th level. So 3rd to 5th level, you can imagine, is getting into the start of your mid-range difficulties. So there's a little quote here. They searched about and soon found the marks of trolls' stony boots going away through the trees. They followed the tracks up the hill until, hidden by bushes, they came upon a big door of stone leading to a cave. I'm going to move this over so that I can read it while looking semi at the camera here. In a hole in the ground, there lives a troll. Not a nice, cozy hobbit hole full of comforts and a well-stocked pantry. No, this is a troll hole, awash in noisome things and bones crunching underfoot wherever you step. If there is a pantry in this troll hole, it is a prison cell. Oh, that is a nice way to begin our discussion here. And it is not just one troll, it is a whole family of them. They came down from the Trollshaws on the edges of the old kingdom of Angmar and encamped near the crossroads of Bree. Trolls are not unknown in these parts. Bilbo Baggins met no fewer than 3 of them on the road, and another made trouble in the graveyard in Bree a generation ago. But a whole family is a danger to Bree and the lands round. Now Bree is defended in secret by the Rangers of the North. Most Bree folk do not know this, but the trolls, they know it. The stones of the Ettenmoors are stained black with troll blood spilled by rangers. This family of stone trolls may have crept past the rangers, but they know that they will be attacked if they just stomp into Bree and start chomping. The head of the family is a clever old troll matriarch named Nellie Longarms, and she came up with a plan. Instead of the trolls going to the meat, they would lure the meat to them. Jari the Wanderer. Many dwarves travel the road through Bree on their way over the misty mountains to Erebor and the Iron Hills. Jari's often seen on the road too, but never with a destination in mind. He is an exile, banished from the Blue Mountains for an unspeakable crime. He survives by his wits, a little thievery, a little smithwork, a little treasure hunting. While the dwarves who know of his crimes shun him, Jari's practiced smile and talent with a blacksmith's hammer have won him some casual friends in Bree and other towns along the road. Now, a few weeks ago, Jari was poking around some old ruins when he had the misfortune to come face to face with Nellie Longarms. Instead of eating him, the troll bargained with him. If Jari lured more victims into the clutches of the trolls, she would spare him. Jari agreed in exchange for his life and the pick of the belongings of the victims. Oh, so Jari is not a good dwarf. He is an evil guy. The first victims. Just as the trolls came south, the family of Diarmok came north. They are of a people descended partially from Dunlendings and partially from the subjects of Gondor who dwelt along the banks of the river Isen. Troubles with the horse lords of Rohan drove them out into the unknown lands beyond Tharbad. Diarmok sold what he could, turning his flock of livestock into a few silver pennies, and then he and his family, his wife, his sons and daughters, his servants, loaded all they possessed into 2 caravans and set off in search of a safer place to dwell. As they came up the greenway, they chanced to meet Jari the dwarf. Feigning kindness, Jari warned them to avoid Bree. "It's worse than Tharbad, full of thieves and murderers," and told them of a pleasant vale where they would be assured of a warm welcome. He lured Diarmok's company into the long arms of Nellie and her kinfolk. The trolls have eaten most of Diarmok's servants, but his wife Elda and his children Tekka and Sulain are now prisoners in the trolls' larder. Diarmok, too, they spared, for Jari suggested that 2 liars would work better than 1. Nellie made Diarmok swear that he would help the treacherous dwarf lure more victims into the clutches of the trolls. The longer he keeps the trolls fed, the longer his children survive. Ooh, okay. So Diarmok is not necessarily a bad person, but what is he willing to do to save his wife and children? That is a good question. It's a question of morality too. Is he a bad person for leading other people to their death to save those that are closest to him? It's a rough question. All right, to Bree. Now Diarmok and Jari are on their way to Bree in search of more meat for the troll's pot. Jari is full of glee, for he has already taken Diarmok's silver for himself and looks forward to more treasure. Diarmok is full of guilt and woe, but what can he do? If he reveals the truth, the trolls will surely devour their hostages. All right. So that is a great little preface to our first adventure, and it's dark. It is a dark one. All right. We will see how much we can get through here, because it looks like my baby might have woken up. Of course, I delayed my stream this morning because he's last night was a rough one. He kept waking up, and of course, right when I was about to get ready to stream this morning, he woke up again. And I tried getting him back to sleep, but he didn't go back to sleep, and then he started going in and out of sleep, and he actually fell asleep in a weird position this morning, so I was like, okay, I guess if he's happy there. All right. So, part 1, By the Sign of the Prancing Pony. The fire is warm, the beer frothy, and the worries of Bree have gathered in the the worthies of Bree have gathered in the common room of the pony to sing songs and make merry. This night there are 2 or 3 groups of strangers as well as the locals. A pair of dwarves, a trio of strangers from over the mountains, and, if they are not known in Bree, the player heroes. Interesting. Sitting by the fire. Arna, Harold, and Leaf are young merchants from distant Lake Town who came west in search of new trading opportunities. They bring wine from Dorwinion and clever trinkets from Dale. They are bound for the Blue Mountains and know little of the geography of the lands west of the High Pass, so they are eager to talk to the local travelers who might know more of Eriador. If prompted, they tell a little of recent news from Wilderland. There is a strong king in Dale, Bard the Bowman, but the good years are passing, and there are rumors of evil in Mirkwood again. The dwarves, Floki and his friend Hornbory, by contrast, do not discuss their business except with other dwarves, and then only in secret. If convinced with a DC 10 persuasion check, they admit they are on their way back from a journey into the lonely lands north of Bree, and they are glad of the firelight and stout hedge around Bree. They saw eerie things in the wilderness, and though they encountered no perils, they felt there were eyes watching them in the night. Floki plays only a minor role in this adventure, but is an important character in later parts of the campaign, Wonder of the Northern World. Consider having the company encounter Floki again a few times between these two adventures, so that the player heroes will be willing to entertain his request in Wonder of the Northern World. They might run into him during a fellowship phase, or meet him again on the road or in the Blue Mountains. Okay, so I like the way Free League does this, where they tell you right away, hey, this isn't something you should glance over. Maybe actually put a focus on this dwarf, and give the players a chance to engage with this dwarf somehow, so that they don't just bypass him, because if he's a complete stranger in Wonder of the Northern World, the players might be like, "Ooh, that's too outrageous. I'm not willing to risk my life for a complete stranger." Depending on your players, because some players, I think, have an understanding of the contract between a lore master and the player heroes. They have an understanding, okay, we're suspending a little bit of disbelief here in order to engage in this campaign. So let's see. So other roads to adventure. Instead of the default opening scene, there are other ways to get your player heroes involved in the tale of the troll hole. So they have 4 different opportunities here, which you can use to customize this adventure to your party, or to your campaign. If you're plugging it into a campaign, you can use some of these suggestions or become inspired by some of these suggestions. So it says, any patron could tell the heroes of rumors of a marauding band of trolls that mysteriously vanished. Rangers found the signs of the monster's passage, but they have not been seen outside Bree or the Shire. Where have these trolls gone? Who knows? Heroes searching the barrows and ruins of the Lost Kingdom might run into Jari and Diremok on the road. Maybe Diremok isn't the first victim of the trolls, only the most recent. Other friends or kinsfolk of the heroes may have vanished, and the heroes were sent to find some trace of their fate. I actually like that. I actually like giving them a little mystery to solve. Their loved ones, or maybe even another person's loved ones have vanished. Maybe they run into someone crying on the road, and it's because they saw these trolls take off with their loved ones, and they don't know what to do. Or maybe they're young. Maybe it's a teenager, and they're not equipped to go after these trolls. But an army of 3rd to 5th level player heroes. All right. And then if Tom Bombadil is the company's patron, then Tom might take pay on Dire Mawk and arrange for the characters to cross his path so they can rescue him. Interesting. I like the idea of Tom playing playing puppet master. Not straightforward at all, which fits the bill for Tom Bombadil. You need help from Tom. Well, Tom won't doesn't play with nasty trolls or silly trolls, but let's set your path forward. These folks are equipped to play with trolls and all of their troll hole findings. Uh, oh, we might be okay. I think my baby might have fallen asleep again. We'll see. He's rolled into that weird position again. All right. Side note, just a small side. Baby monitors are awesome. Like, I do not know how parents did, or caregivers of any sort did anything prior to baby monitors. It is such a great technology to just be able to look over and check on my baby on the video. All right. We met an inn. If this is the first session of your Lord of the Rings role-playing campaign, then you could have your fellowship meet for the first time here in the Pony. That's a small little note. All right, so we know that we've got some young merchants from Laketown in the Prancing Pony. We've got a couple dwarves who are being secretive and closed off. Meanwhile, outside, the gates of Bree close at nightfall. Just as the gatekeeper is locking up, two travelers approach and ask for entrance. They are a mismatched pair, a dwarf who is all grin and beard, and a dark-haired man who seems bereft of all humor. The dwarf bursts into the pony first, throwing open the door and loudly demanding a drink. The man skulks in a shadow a few minutes later. If the players later question the gatekeeper, he reveals that Jari and Dire Mawk arrived in Bree together, but they entered the inn separately. Interesting. So, I'm curious to see how the players decide to question the gatekeeper about this. Unless they just think of it, where did these people come from? And maybe the people around town are like, hey, we never seen these two before. Enter Jari. Shortly after his grand entrance, Jari the dwarf demands to know if there are any brave souls in the inn who'd like to earn their fair share of a great treasure. He avoids the dwarves in the corner and instead focuses on the three travelers from Laketown and the player heroes. I wonder if he has some, you know what it is? Because he's an outcast. He committed some unspeakable crime and is barred from dwarven kingdoms. Interesting. So he doesn't want to be recognized probably by those dwarves. So Jari explains. As everyone in Bree knows, he is a noted explorer and treasure finder. Dwarves have a nose for gold, and he's on the trail of a buried treasure. One of his distant uncles, Great Uncle Bori, buried it long ago to hide it from bandits, and Jari is the only one who knows the secret. All right. The treasure cache is hidden in a valley to the north of Bree, said to be the haunt of wolves and worse things. Jari's not a fighter. He needs some doughty sword-wielding types to guard him while he searches the valley. He offers the heroes a share of the treasure as payment if it is found. He has a little money to pay in advance. Oh, and that's probably Diremock's silver there. Small note for those of you who are unfamiliar with the adventure, or with Lord of the Rings role playing. Gold is very rare in Middle Earth. Most of the gold in circulation comes from Smaug's treasure hoard. So to see like a gold piece is very rare, and very a notable thing. So most things are in silver. There's a couple like copper penny kind of things for smaller expenses, but like the big circulating currency is silver pieces. The three men from Laketown are not adventurers. They were warned not to leave the road, and so they regretfully turned down Jari's offer, though not without many wistful glances and dreams of an easy fortune. The dwarves in the corner glare at Jari, but say nothing. Oh, so they recognize him. Oh, and Jari has like a sketchy look to him. I wonder if I can... Let me just see if I can bring it up here somehow. Alright, window capture probably. No, not that. Cancel. I'm gonna try and bring it up for you guys. I don't want display capture. All right. I need to adjust how this is set out so that I can properly show this to you guys. Actually, you know what? I bet you I have it set up good in here. I bet you. Share screen. Nope, none of those. Huh, I don't have a sap in here. Interesting. Alright. We will get this fixed up for you guys. And then you guys can see all the fun little things. Where did I just throw that? Ah. So interesting. Interesting thing about those of you that are not familiar with streaming stuff is it you had to really play with the way that things are laid out, because if you're not careful, you end up going under a bunch of stuff that you don't intend to. All right. I think that's good. All right. Oh, you guys won't be able to see him. Let me show it in a really shitty way. All right. So, right there you can see this creepy gentleman is Jari. He's got like a creepy little grin, definitely a sketchy character. And then this one at the bottom here is Diremock. So let me fix up how this is displayed here. All right. One last little thing. Okay, there we go. All right. There. Okay. Jari the Wanderer. A knavish dwarf, Jari lacks the courage and determination of most of his kinsfolk, but makes up for it by being loud and ebullient, larger than life. He presents everything as a grand adventure, an opportunity too good to be missed. He is your best friend until he stabs you in the back. And looking at his stat block here, they do have him as quite high charisma. It's actually his chief stat is his charisma. He's got a little bit of some average con and dex and wisdom. Those are all at a decent level at 14. His intelligence is not the greatest, but he is dump statting strength. He could easily be overpowered. So his occupation is listed as rogue and accessory to murder. What an occupation, guys. Distinctive features are listed as cowardly and cunning. Looking at his actual stat block here. So there's a good chance if the players find out what's happening with this, which, let's be honest, they're likely to find out eventually one way or another, whether or not they confront him or not. He does have a CR 1/2 stat block. So he's got a little bit of roguish tendencies. Cunning action, so on each of his turns he can use a bonus action to dash, disengage, or hide. Very roguelike. And he gets sneak attack once per turn, so he does an extra 2d6 damage when he hits a target with a weapon attack and has advantage, or within 5 feet of an ally that isn't incapacitated and doesn't have disadvantage on the attack roll. So regular roguelike features. He has one attack as just a sword attack, +4 to hit, reach of 5 feet. I wonder if he must be using his dex for this with a +4. Yeah, he'd be using his dex proficiency plus dex. So he's dexterity based sword attack for 1d6 +2 slashing, or if he uses both hands, which why wouldn't he, 1d8 +2. It's a mediocre stat block at best. I think if I were running this one shot, I would definitely bump up a little bit of his information. You could take some inspiration from the rogue class. You could take some inspiration from even some subclasses. Like you could make him a thief. You could even make him like a bardic swashbuckler. Swords bard. That's the one I'm thinking of, which has some really great flourishes. That could spice up the stat block a little bit. I think I would bump up, because let's see, he's got AC 14, hit points are 26, speed 25, so he's gonna go down pretty quick. AC of 14 doesn't give him a whole lot. I would make him a little fancier. Even if you give him maybe some lair actions, depending on if he's in like the troll hole, that could spice it up a little bit. like maybe he has made some deals with the trolls to set up some traps or something like that. Because he is an outcast from dwarvish kingdoms, so I think it makes sense to me that he's probably well versed in some criminal activities and some sneaky, underhanded stuff. I think that he doesn't play fair, so it would be fun to I think it would be fun to spice up his stat block a little bit. I will say that that's one of the things about some of these one shots. I feel that they greatly I feel that they undersell some of the stat blocks that you can attack in some of these adventures. I noticed it in Shire Adventures, and I'm noticing it here with Tales from Eriador. You don't want to just throw in a combat for the sake of combat, especially if that is a trivial combat. Because I feel like if it's a trivial combat and the players are going to be done it before the creature even gets a chance to attack them, what's the point of it anyways? Unless it is there to be trivial, I don't see the point in rolling an initiative and gearing up to fight for something so minor. All right. So that is Jari. Enter Diremok. While Jari is talking, Diremok slouches into the inn, entering quietly and joining the company like a shadow. The player heroes may make a DC 10 perception check to notice when he joins the crowd, otherwise they assume he was always there. Diremok's role is to convince any hesitating characters to join Jari's scheme. He might mutter that this sounds like easy money, vouch that he too has heard tell of the dwarf's uncle and his fabled treasure. If any of the player heroes are suspicious looking or untrustworthy types like a ranger, then Diremok mutters that he could waylay the dwarf after finding the treasure and steal it all. Okay, so Diremok is, helping bolster the story of Jari. I like that they make an active perception check, because if they make it a passive perception check, like DC 10, even some of your dump stat wisdom characters might be able to make that, depending on their makeup of their character sheet. So an active perception check, DC 10. I guess it's up to your lore master. It's up to you guys as lore masters to decide if you feel that DC is too low. I feel it's a little low. I know it's meant to be a little lower than some of them, but it's I think it'll be passed most of the time, especially if you have a wisdom-based character in your party, which you're going to have, and likely your party is going to try and help one another. They're going to try and say like, hey, I'd like to, think back on who I've seen come into the inn, that kind of stuff. So yeah, as a lore master, you're probably not saying like Diremok entered. He's just suddenly there. How you would represent that on a battle map is a little sketchy. Because maybe you as a lore master have the token enter the scene. I think that this is a situation that is better represented as theater of the mind type stuff, so that you can heighten the elusiveness of Dire Mawk entering. So something to think about. I definitely, if I was running this, would do theater of the mind for this section. Observing Dire Mawk carefully and passing a DC 12 insight check lets the heroes guess that Dire Mawk is acting strangely. He speaks as if half strangled, forcing the words out past his lips. Alright, so not a big DC to figure out, okay, Dire Mawk is maybe being sketchy about this. I like to imagine what would happen, though, if the players don't find out that this is not a true situation. Because depending on how you present Jari, and how great of an actor you are as a lore master, this could seem like a legitimate quest to the player heroes. Dire Mawk the Traveler. I think my baby's asleep in that weird position. I'm just going to make sure he's marked. We have a little app to keep track of our baby's statistics, so feeding, sleeping, diaper change, all that kind of stuff. And it is an amazing app. I love this app. I really, really, really like this. All right. Okay, moving on. Dire Mawk the Traveler. So he has like a really, really, really rough gist of a stat block. He is not meant to be fought. Dire Mawk does not have any actions. He basically has statistics so that you can roll ability checks from his character sheet. So he's got not great charisma, not great intelligence, a little bit higher wisdom, a 12, so he gets a +1. Occupation, unwilling henchman. Distinctive features, secretive, outlander. He's got a passive perception of 11. He's skilled in deception a little bit. Basically, he's proficient in deception, but he's got no charisma to back it up. So he's got a little +2 to it. So he's not a great liar. He's just had to become a liar. In his distant homeland, Dire Mawk was a respected man of means, master of a great farmstead. Now he has lost almost everything: home, wealth, family, and must strangle what remains of his honor in order to salvage anything from this disaster. He is quiet-spoken and grim, and a poor liar. Okay, so it explains it right there. He's a bad liar. So he gets that little +2. Accepting the quest. Dire Mawk and Jari adjust their approach to suit the player heroes. If there is a dwarf in the company, then Jari might declare how woeful it is that the gold of the dwarves is lost to them. If there are hobbits, then he compares them to that hobbit who went east and stole a dragon's hoard. Bilbo. Breelanders might be encouraged to help defend their homeland by slaying whatever monsters live in the valley before they threaten Bree. If the heroes agree to Jari's plan, he proposes they leave tomorrow morning. It's a week's travel to the valley where his uncle's treasure is buried. He gives the player heroes a handful of silver pennies to buy supplies and other needed things for the journey. He tells them that he will meet them outside Bree. He's got some ponies tied up in the woods outside town. Okay, so I'm curious. The more I'm reading this, the more I'm thinking, it's not great to lean too much into how suspicious this is with Jari and Diarmok. I think setting it up more as a legitimate quest and, maybe hinting at the stuff with Diarmok, but the more I'm reading this, the more I'm thinking, if I was running this adventure, I know my players would be very suspicious of Diarmok. The Diarmok would be, incited immediately, and they would definitely succeed. And once they find out Diarmok is suspicious, they'd probably call out Jari or start investigating this stuff. I don't know if they would actually accept the quest. I guess it depends on if they think that they can out-schmooze or outmaneuver the sneakiness of Jari. Excuse me. Nosing around in Bree. Wise or suspicious player heroes may wish to do a little investigating before they depart. Jari is well known in Bree. He has passed through several times. Few people have a bad word to say about him, although a successful DC 15 investigation check discovers that he has failed to pay for his drinks a few times. While no one can prove that he robbed anyone, there are whispers of valuables gone missing after Jari passed through town. I wonder how you would present some of that. DC 15 investigation. That's pretty high. It's not impossible, but it's up there for, level 3 to 5. Oh my goodness, words. The taciturn dwarves, if pressed, admit that Jari is known to them. He was exiled from the Blue Mountains for theft and fraud. Ooh. Yeah. If that comes to light, game over. Flocky urges the player heroes not to trust the wretch. The dwarves do not speak further of Jari's crimes to outsiders, but if asked by a dwarf, they revealed that Jari was accused of tomb robbing and dealing in relics from lost Moria, a crime in the eyes of the Longbeard dwarves. Flocky admits that associating with Jari tarnished the good name of Flocky's own brother, Flonar, a tale fully told in Wonder of the Northern World. Okay, so this is a little preview of what's going to occur in that later one shot. And he warns that Jari brings ill luck to those who travel with him. A close examination of the silver pennies that Jari gave as part payment for the quest notes notes that the coins are strange. They were minted in far-off Rohan and bear the image of the king of that land. Okay, so this is Diarmok's silver. If the door warden of Bree is questioned, he recalls that Jari the dwarf entered just as the gate was closing in the company of a strange man. The pair seemed to be traveling together. Okay. So that is part 1 of a troll hole, if there ever was one. Excuse me. Interesting. Okay, so interesting. So we have part 2, the journey to the Troll Vale, and then part 3, the Hidden Valley, and then we will be done this adventure. And can I just say, if you do not own this stuff already, if you buy through Free League Publishing, you do get the PDF version as well as the physical book copy of these adventures. So if you like what I'm reading here, please go support Free League Publishing. They have been fantastic. They are very responsive to any email inquiries, and they produce some amazing stuff. So please do check them out. All right. Part 2, The Journey to the Troll Vale. Jari the dwarf waits for the company a short distance outside Bree, in a sheltered dell north of Bree Hill. The company finds him crouched over a campfire, merrily frying up a breakfast of bacon, sausage, and egg. Nearby, 4 fine ponies crop the long grass. Jari jumps and greets the adventurers. "Friends, eat, eat. We have a long journey ahead of us before we find my great uncle's treasure. So let's put a little food in our bellies ere we march." This to me just screams like I'm fattening you up for the trolls. Does this ever? The journey north. Jari leads the company north at first along the edge of the Chetwood. Once clear of the forest eaves, they turn northeast. Off to the traveler's right, the low hillocks and wild pastures of Bree country slope down towards the bowl of Midgewater, and little streams flow eagerly towards the marsh, unaware of the doleful realm that awaits them. Ahead, on the distant horizon, the line of the weather hills stands like a dozen watchful sentinels, with mighty Weathertop furthest to the south, set off a little from the rest like a lonely captain. Of course, the travelers only rarely glimpse a view. If they are lucky, then soft grey mists cloak the whole land in a damp shroud, and they can see little more than the grassy terrain ahead of them. If they're unlucky, then rain clouds roll in from the northwest and drench them in miserable, prolonged downpours that turn all the land into sucking mud. Jari makes for a valley in the weather hills, the hidden vale of Morgland. Visiting Weathertop. On the off chance that the company turns aside to visit the landmark of Weathertop, and there's a whole dedicated section to this in the setting book, Ruins of Eriador, on page 96. Note that the cache there currently holds a note from Orithel, asking for aid from her fellow rangers in the Vale of Morgland. All right. Jari's tale. I wonder what's detailed in this. As the company travels north, Jari engages the player heroes in conversation, integrating himself with them as best he can. He might ask about where the characters come from, why they have gone wandering, or what they will do with the vast treasure they are sure to find in the valley. Along the way, Jari tells the tale of his grey uncle Bori. Again, the lore master should tailor his tale to the personalities of the player heroes. If they are the sort to be enchanted by tales of magic, then Jari might claim that his uncle laid magical spells of concealment on the hoard, and that only Bori's rightful heir can open the cave. And it has to be at sunset on Durance Day, and you need the right magic key and a magic map that can only be read in moonlight. Okay, yeah. If the heroes are cynical swords for hire, then Jari might emphasize the threat of goblins and urge the company to hurry before someone else finds the treasure. The bones of the tale are always the same. Jari claims that his family has always been unjustly mistreated by the jealous dwarves of the Blue Mountains, and that his uncle was a traveler and treasure seeker of renown. Why he entered into lost dwarven stays in the Grey Mountain, and who knows what fabulous gems and jewels he found there. Anyway, the dwarf lords of the Blue Mountains threatened to take Bori's hard-earned gold with fines and taxes, and rather than yield up his treasure to them, Bori buried it. If the player heroes ask troublesome questions, then Jory says he has to scout ahead and leaves the company for the evening. The dwarf is remarkably stealthy when he wishes to be. Following Jari requires a DC 16 perception check. Ooh. If a player hero manages to follow Jari, they see that the dwarf does not scout ahead. Instead, he circles back and spies on the company as they travel or encamp for the night. Alternatively, if the company has nearly reached the Hin Valley, then Jari sneaks off to tell the trolls that their next meal is coming by signaling to Nelly Longarms. He climbs a tree and imitates the cry of a curlew. Interesting. Oh, I think I need to get a drink of water. I am parched. I will be back in like 20 seconds, you guys. All right, I am back. I decided to take the opportunity to get a snack while I could. I now have a cat because she's decided to be very loud today. So I'm trying to salvage my baby's sleep while I can, so that I can continue to stream to you guys. Because when baby wakes up, I gotta go. All right. So that was the end of Jari's tale. Now we will get into Diremok's tale. Well-traveled player heroes may, with a successful DC 15 old lore check, guess from Diremok's garb and mode of speech that he comes from the near south beyond Dunland, from the border of Gondor's western marches. Travelers from that region are not unheard of lately, as rumors of trouble and shadow in the south drive them to safer lands, but they are still unusual. Did Diremok come with them? Interesting. If questioned, Diremok reluctantly gives a version of the truth, leaving out how his family are the prisoners of Nellie Longarms and her trolls, and how he is bound to serve Jari. He says that he and his kinsfolk left the south and traveled north, but were waylaid by trolls on the way. Only Diremok escaped, and he does not know what became of his family. He hopes one day to find a way to rescue them, if they have not already been eaten. Ooh. Left unchecked, Diremok descends into despairing imaginings of what might have happened to his family, speculating grimly that they've been devoured. Everyone listening to his woes gains 1 shadow point from dread, resisted by a DC 10 charisma saving throw. That's sad. Poor Diremok. He's just trying to help his family. If the player hero suggests that they could help Diremok rescue his family, he realizes that he said too much and hastily says that the quest at hand is to find Bori's buried treasure in the hidden family and has nothing to do with trolls. Oh. A DC 12 riddle or insight check confirms he is lying and likely leads into challenging Diremok. Interesting. All right. So, we've got a section here. Sorry, I've got a cat. I hope you guys enjoy cat cam. She's very old, so we forgive her loud meowings. On the road with Diremok. If the player heroes leave Bree in the company of Diremok, sooner or later they may choose to confront him about his relationship with Jari and the dwarves' true intention. But discovering the truth about the situation is not so easy. Diremok's goal is to safeguard his family. To do this, he must bring victims to the Troll Vale, and he must ensure that Jari has no reason to think that he has strayed from this task. If the dwarf suspects that Diremok is plotting against the trolls, or that Diremok has given warning to the victims, then the children's lives are forfeit. Diremok hates Jari and the trolls for forcing him to do this, to sacrifice the lives of innocents to save his children. But if he must choose between the player hero's lives and those of his children, there is no question which he will pick. He will like to believe that the heroes can destroy the trolls and free his children, but he has lost all hope and with it all courage. Therefore, the truth is revealed slowly, peeled like the layers of an onion. The lore master may use the information presented in the nearby box to manage the slow unraveling of Diremok's conscience. Alright, and then we have this lovely little table. The revelation table. Where we've got our first revelation, second revelation, and third revelation. Alright, so challenging Diremok. So this is where they had kind of referenced in Diarmach's tale. Um, the when he said, "Oh no, this doesn't have anything to do with trolls. We need to focus on the buried treasure," and having that riddle or insight check to confirm he's lying, it leads to this challenging Diarmach. So the first revelation is triggered by challenging Diarmach. If confronted, Diarmach admits that he met the dwarf on the road outside Bree and that Jari paid him to bolster the dwarf's attempts to recruit adventurers. Diarmach claims that Jari fears there may be dangers in the hidden valley, and so he had Diarmach enter Bree separately as a ruse to ensure that the dwarf would be able to recruit a goodly number of adventurers. A successful DC 12 riddle or insight check reveals that Diarmach is still hiding something. The Southerners' mood continues to grow ever darker and more troubled as they travel north. Okay, so the Diarmach must have, volunteered for this journey. Maybe with the players, the player said, "Oh, we want to do it," and maybe Diarmach said, "Yeah, I'd like I'd like a hand at capturing some treasure too, or whatever. I'll come with you guys." In his poor lying attempt. All right, so the second revelation. Triggered by either continuing to press Diarmach after Diarmach's tale is told, or if the player heroes accuse Jari of treachery. Okay. So, Diarmach admits that there is more to this quest than was said at Bree. The Hidden Valley contains little treasure. It's home to a band of foul trolls who capture and eat people. They waylaid Diarmach's family and devoured them. He met Jari as he wandered, bereft and lost, and Jari came up with the tale of the lost treasure in order to recruit some stalwart adventurers. Their real goal is slaying the trolls, not finding dwarf gold. Although Jari quickly assures the adventurers that the trolls probably have a fortune worth taking, and there's more to this quest than mere revenge. A successful DC 12 riddle or insight check, again, confirms that Diarmach's being mostly truthful, but he still seems weighed down by guilt, suggesting there is more to the tale. Onion indeed. All right. Then we've got our final revelation, the third revelation. Triggered by a successful DC 11 intimidation or persuasion check when Jari is not listening. Okay. So the players had to get charismatic somehow. Diarmach finally breaks down and tells the truth. His family is being held hostage by trolls. If he does not bring them victims to eat, or Jari warns the trolls that Diarmach has failed, then the trolls will kill his children. He does not know how Jari will signal the trolls, but if the trolls do not receive a message from the dwarf, then all is lost. The fault is Diarmach's. He brought his family to this desolate land. He led them to the clutches of the trolls. His conscience will no longer permit him to continue. He is already lost, but he will not damn others. He urges the player heroes to flee south before the trolls come for them too, and warns them that Jari the dwarf is in league with the trolls and tells the heroes they should slip away when Jari is not watching them. And you're never going to have your player heroes actually decide, yeah, we're running away, good luck. They're going to be the better people, hopefully. If they aren't the better people, as a lore master, I would 100% craft it up that the trolls have already been circling in on their location, because the hills are crawling with them, and there's other things that might keep them from traveling too far. You can have the rain slog down their travel. So they're, maybe working through difficult terrain. You could have the fog make them lost, and maybe they end up at the troll camp anyways. There's a few different things. Cat, come here. Come here. This cat, you guys. Come here. She's very loud. All right. There you are. All right. Try to salvage. Trying to salvage baby's sleep. He's still in that weird position, but he seems happy. So we'll continue on. Thank you so much for the follow, kindly cleric. I appreciate it. We're just going through reviewing the first quest from Tales from Eriador right now. Yes. Sorry for the loud cat. All right. We just got through going through the revelations of Diremok. You love kitties. She's a very old cat. She's she's not very youthful. I think she's 20. She's got to be 23 or 24 now. Very old cat. I think she's got a little bit of dementia to her, to be quite honest with you, but she loves me. I've had her entire life, so. Are you familiar with this quest, David? You am? Okay, perfect. All right, this is actually my first time reading through it, because I haven't gone too much into the Eriador stuff. I was trying to read through Runes of Eriador before I got to Tales of Eriador, Tales from Eriador. Played with some folks. Nice. As a player or as a lore master? Perfect. All right, so this is not going to be any surprises to you, but I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on some of these things. So, the last night. As the travelers approach the Weather Hills, Jari leads the company to a sheltered spot. The trail winds its way up a steep-sided hillock, one of the westernmost of the hills. At the top there are a few tumbling stones that mark the watchtower that once stood there. Long ago there was a beacon fire here, signaling along the line of hills from the road to Fornas Erin. He points east and tells the characters that yonder lies the hidden valley of Morgland. Jari insists that this is a good place to camp and suggests lighting a fire there, claiming that no one will be able to see it from below. Trust a dwarf to know a sheltered spot amid the rocks, he says. In truth, Jari intends to signal the trolls that dinner is coming tomorrow. If the player heroes protest, Jari sits down in a huff and complains about the cold and damp and tries to sneak off to signal the trolls by imitating the cry of a curlew. Yeah, I would be hard-pressed to find any player who's going to be like, oh, this nice high ground. This is a great place to light a fire. The next morning, Jari delays breaking camp as long as possible, so the player heroes reach the hidden valley with only a few hours of daylight. The goal is to stall the company so they are easy prey for the nocturnal trolls. Yeah, that'd be a hard one, because even if he's trying to sneak off to signal them in the middle of the night, 9 times out of 10, your players are going to be like, okay, someone's keeping watch, and it's going to be your people who are perceptive. I don't remember what Jari's stealth is like. Let's see. Oh, +6 stealth. Maybe he'd be able to do it. But it's that's a tough sell. Delay breaking of camp. I wonder how Jari would delay them. Maybe wandering around the valley or something. Yeah, totally. Oh, look, waylaying Jari. Player heroes who become suspicious of Jari may think of confronting or capturing the dwarf. The danger of this tactic is that Jari has arranged a signal with Nelly Longarms, and if the trolls do not get the signal when strangers arrive in their hidden valley, then the trolls will murder Diremok's family. Oh, shit. So capturing Jari is tantamount to killing Diremok's kinfolk, and Diremok knows this, so he will either plead for the heroes to free Jari or attempt to do so himself. Oh. Smart. That's smart. If questioned, Jari initially snarls and threatens the player heroes, showing that he has powerful friends who will bring ruin down on his enemies. He admits that he's in league with the trolls and that he intended to lure the player heroes into a trap, and now that they've escaped his snare, the trolls will eat Diremok's family instead. Possible ways to resolve this dilemma. A successful DC 12 intimidation or persuasion check. Now I want ranch Hidden Valley. Actually, that's the type of ranch we have too. Goes gray on tacos. We just actually had tacos last night, so yeah. A successful DC 12 intimidation or persuasion check can convince Jari that the player heroes can defeat the trolls and that he's better off joining the winning side. A converted Jari becomes a sniveling, desperate sycophant, eager to buy forgiveness by telling the player heroes all he knows about the Hidden Valley. So he's not, and that's DC 12, that's not a very high DC to get him to flip sides. Taco Sunday. Yeah, Taco Sunday. We had some deer meat that I brought out from the freezer, and I was like, hey, look, we have some tacos and we've got veggies, so we're doing tacos tonight. Tuesdays are well, we don't have a dedicated meal on Tuesdays. Love venison. Yes. We that's one of the nice things about living up in the north where I do. We get a lot of different wild meat. So between deer, elk, moose, we even get like fresh fish and that kind of stuff. You guys hunt. I don't hunt. My husband hunts. I do have, because I'm Métis, so I do have harvesting rights. So eventually I want to get into stuff like duck hunting and waterfowl hunting, but I haven't gotten my gun license yet. So I need to do like a course for that first, and then I can buy a gun and properly hunt. But I've never hunted before. So, are you a hunter, David? I will say I do fish though. I know it's not quite hunting, but I do fish. We do a lot of ice fishing and that kind of stuff during the winter, and proper rod and reel fishing during the summer. All right. So we convinced Jari to switch sides because he's not very trustworthy. I have gone once, would not recommend. 2 out of 5 stars. I'm curious. What happened on that hunt that it's so lowly rated. Following and eavesdropping on Jari on the edge of the hidden valley can let a player hero learn his system of signals. If all is well, he makes the cry of a curlew 3 times, signaling to the trolls that they should make ready to ambush the travelers. His other signal is to cry like a fox 3 times. Forewarned is forearmed. If Jari successfully warns the trolls of the approach of the company, see The Trolls in Wait, page 22, which is down here. Oh, this is actually longer than I thought. There's actually 4 parts to it. Cold early. Yeah, my husband's been trying to get a moose. Hunting season began like middle of September. And he's Métis as well, so he does have harvesting rights. But during the rut, it's always better. The meat tastes better. So he's trying to get a moose during the hunting season to get better tasting meat for us. And if he's able to get like a moose, that fills our freezer for well over a year of red meat. So it definitely pays off in the long run, but he hasn't been very successful. So he's been every day off, every single day off. He's out there early morning before sunrise, and every evening he's out there before sunset. He's diligent, that's for sure. I am not that diligent, especially during the cold. All right. So, we've got part 3, The Hidden Valley, and then after The Hidden Valley, we have Homeward Bound. I might take this opportunity to actually end the stream here, because it looks like my baby's awake again. So I will probably pop off here and tend to him. Thank you everybody for joining the stream today. Thank you, the Kindly Cleric, for the follow and joining in on the chat. I really appreciate it. For those of you who are, say hi to Little Phoenix. I will. For those of you who are not aware, we do have a one-shot coming in the near future. This is titled Of Ill Fillings and Miscrust. So this is a completely homebrewed one-shot that I wrote based on the Lord of the Rings 5e system. And this is a adventure set in the Shire. I have a cast of five different players. All have made some lovely little Hobbit characters. I'm hoping to have a confirmed date sometime in the next few weeks on when we can actually provide this as a live stream to you guys on stream here on Twitch and YouTube. Right now, with the holidays, some schedules are a little tight right now, so I'm anticipating that the actual date for this one shot probably won't be until January. But we will continue to discuss that, and like always, I will keep you guys posted on all that stuff. If you guys like my stuff, please be sure to subscribe, follow, like, share. Tell your friends about it. Engage in the chat. I do have a Discord account. You can always add me on there. I also have a Blue Sky. So if you want any updates about upcoming dates for one-shots, I post all of that stuff on my Blue Sky account. It's like a Twitter account, but better, because it's not Twitter. So please be sure to give me a follow on those social medias. And if you guys like my little stream pet here, my little dragon, he is currently without a name. So I am still taking suggestions on names for him. We've got about 11 different suggestions here. I think I'll try and get a couple more suggestions in before I start to post the votes for you guys to actually decide what his name is going to be. So please, if you have an idea of what you think his name should be, drop it in the chat and I will add it to my list. Shake. Shake the dragon. I like that. I will add that to my list here. Shake. Because shake the Twitch dragon. Shake the Twitch dragon. I like that. Right now, we've got a few different suggestions. So we've got Morgoth, Wormtongue, Smog, Smeag, Scatha, Falcor, Ryu, Stratos, Cirrus, Squall, and Chungle. So we'll add a Shake to that list. Shake the Twitch dragon. Again, thank you all for tuning in today. I should be up and streaming again tomorrow morning at some point. My baby is currently mid-teething. He just finished teething one tooth and he's decided he's going to follow it right up with a second tooth. So his sleep schedule is completely bonkers right now. So I will try to get on stream when possible tomorrow, hopefully in the morning, but if not, in the early afternoon. Again, thank you all so much, and I hope you guys have a fabulous rest of your Mondays. Take care, everybody.